Hi everyone, today we are going to talk about some more PlayStation 3 games. This is the second episode. Make sure to check out the first one. We are going alphabetically through my huge PlayStation 3 collection. I have more than 300 PlayStation 3 games. And let's see the next two. This is Assassin's Creed Revelation Ottoman Edition, and the other one is Assassin's Creed 3 Washington Edition. I got these for really cheap from a friend. I was like, yeah, why not? I really don't like Assassin's Creed. I think it's like one of the most overrated and really just very boring series. Although back in the day with these were at least pretty decent. So the Ottoman Edition actually includes a DLC code and whatnot. I think this one comes with this strange black PlayStation 3 case. And then it has, of course, the game and some extra DLC. So nothing really that extra about it. I think some of the editions, like Brotherhood, has a similar edition. Oh yeah, it says it includes the original AC game. I don't know. Is it a code? Contains Revelations full game plus Assassin's Creed full game. I don't know. So this came with the first one, which is good because this is a sequel for that. And then there is AC3. The Washington edition, it has some like DLC, I guess. Yeah, like full game and some extra DLC packs, whatever. I think Assassin's Creed is like really boring. I really don't like the series. But the older games are at least decent, and these are like nice little extra editions. So, why not have it in the collection? The next one is kind of an expensive game nowadays, is Azura's Wrath. This is like a big hack and slash kind of like fighting game, I think. You fight like huge boss fights and crazy sites, and I think this is the game where it has like one of the biggest, like in terms of size, one of the biggest bosses of all time. It's like the bosses almost, or it's like bigger than planets or something. So basically, finally you find the boss, and yeah, Azura's Wrath, it's a cool game. I found this back in the day when I was working at a video game store, and I was looking for it for quite a while. Sadly, this is like a German edition, but the game itself is in English, so that's cool. And it's a pretty hard to find game now. I think it only came out on consoles, so 360 and PS3. There are DLCs for it that are still available in the PlayStation 3 store. So if you are interested in this game or you play this and you like it, definitely pick up the DLC for it, because that's also pretty good. And also, who knows when it's going to get delisted from the PlayStation Store. The next one is James Cameron's Avatar the Game. Now, this one is in English, of course. I don't really like this game, to be honest. It's a Ubisoft game, and recently Ubisoft made a much better Avatar game, although that one is also kind of weird. It has stereoscopic 3D, which is cool, but I think the game runs pretty poorly. It's like sub 30 FPS, plus the 1080p nature of the game makes that the graphics are pretty bad, even for like PlayStation 3 quality. I think like very low res textures are not really that great. So yeah, I can't really recommend this. I basically picked up for the interesting nature of it. It's like a movie based game based on like the best selling movie of all time, or the highest how do you call it, revenue movie of all time. But yeah, the game itself is nothing really great. The next one is Baja Edge of Control. I didn't pay that much whatever for that. This is also a weird German edition, although yeah, the game is in English also. It reminds me of MotorStorm. At this time, I think a lot of companies tried their luck with rally games and off-road style racing games, and Baja is that. It also has a remastered on PlayStation 4 and Xbox, so if you want like the newer version, it's usually pretty cheap in the PlayStation store. Next one is, I have a loose copy of Arkham City, or maybe well, it's not loose because it's in the case, and the game itself is in there, but I don't have a cover for it. I still have to get maybe print a new cover for it. I actually never played any of the Batman games. I kinda want to, although I have so many games to play. I don't really have time, or I'm not really that interested in them. They are good. I heard a lot of good about the 4 Batman games that were made by Rocksteady, but I don't know, it's just not something that I like to play. Something that I did play is Bayonetta on the PlayStation 3. Now I tried this version, and I think my problem was with this game that I just didn't play it for a couple of weeks. I tried it again, and it was so combo heavy that I had no idea what to do about it, so how to play the game anymore. But the game is good. Recently I played it again on the PlayStation 4. There is like a neat double pack with Vanquish, which came out around the same time as this one. And then that was good, and I almost played through it. Although by the end, it's like, I don't know, not really my style of game. If you want to pick the game up, don't really pick up the PS3 version because it's considered the worst out of all of them. But still, it's a good game. And it's like made by Platinum Games. So the same people who made a bunch of legendary games like Nier Automata, and yeah, they are basically the best in this style of game. And then Bayonetta went on to become a big, really enough, a big Nintendo franchise. And then the second and the third one, I also have those. They came out on Nintendo consoles like the Wii U, and then the third one came out on the Switch. And they have a steady high quality. This is something that Nintendo is sorely missing, like high quality 18 plus or like more adult oriented games. And Bayonetta is pretty good. Yeah, I have some weird athletics and Olympic games. I basically have most of them, except for like the Mario and Sonic games. I don't really care about them that much, but these ones, like the more realistic ones, are pretty cool. I actually picked this up for really cheap. I also have, weirdly enough, a 360 copy of this one, but I usually play it on the PlayStation 3. I have like more controllers for it, so it's like a good party game that you can play with friends. Although this one is pretty weird. If you want to launch the game, you have to disconnect it from the internet because the servers are not working. So, but if you are online, the game goes into an online mode, which means that it tries to get like the leaderboards and any online content, and it can't. So it always like trying to get it, trying to download it. So it goes into like this loop kind of thing basically. So what you can do about it is disconnect your console from the internet, and then you can play it because then it launches in offline mode. So, I don't know, it's weird, but yeah, fun party games. The next one is Beowulf the game. Now this one is similar to Avatar. It's like Ubisoft making weird movie-based games, and this is like the 3D Angelina Jolie movie from like 2002 or 3 maybe. And then like years later in 2007 they made this like pretty low quality hack and slash game. It's like Warner Brothers, Paramount. There is like an army fight game. I think it's pretty typical at this time. It reminds me of like the Lord of the Rings games. But yeah, this wasn't really a success or anything. It's kind of weird that even a game like this can get made. But I think it's also cool to get these like lower quality sort of games that I guess they started out as AAA games, but eventually they became this like weird ones. Next up is a game I really, really like. It's Beyond Two Souls. It's from Quantic Dream, and I already talked about Quantic Dream on the PlayStation 2 episode, one of the PlayStation 2 episodes, maybe 4 or 5, with Fahrenheit Indigo Prophecy. And this one is also in a similar vein. It's like a movie experience. I think this is one of the games that has the best graphics on the PlayStation 3, with Ellen, now Elliot Page, and with Willem Dafoe. This is a fun game, I guess. There are some interesting things about it, like how the story timeline is all over the place. So it's not like a linear story; it's more like an episodic one with the childhood of the main character and how she got like into, I don't know, like a child facility because she has like special powers. It has that sort of David Cage vibe where it's a bit weird, it's a bit an interesting and quirky story, but also goes into talk about like traumas and whatnot. This edition is pretty cool because it comes with this nice steelbook case, and then inside we have, of course, Beyond Two Souls the game, some extra DLC, and of course a little manual, which, yeah, I miss manuals. The next one is Binary Domain. Now this is also an interesting one. This is a third-person shooter as far as I remember. It's about like, oh, Tokyo 2080, it's futuristic, it's pretty cool. There are some interesting elements and tactical stuff about it. But one thing I find interesting about this, that it was published by Sega. It was made internally by the studio that makes the Yakuza games. I guess after, yeah, it's after Yakuza Dead Souls, so maybe they wanted to use those shooter elements and stuff like that in this game. But it's pretty cool and it's pretty unique. I hope that Sega one day will do something with this franchise, because it would be cool, and it's something that Sega doesn't really do that much, like third-person shooters. But I guess if there's a chance, I hope that they're going to continue this. The next one is Bionic Commando, and this is also just like Binary Domain. It's one of those like sort of AAA titles where they are very experimental with the game. So there is this like arm with the guy, and you can like upgrade it, and you can use it as a grappling hook. This is a reboot of the Bionic Commando series from like the NES era. I think these types of games, they try to have like a interesting gimmick. For example, this time the gimmick is this like grappling hook arm that also can like shoot stuff, and the main character's wife died, and they put some parts of the wife into the arm. I don't know. I only tried this a little bit. It's a cool game. The movement is really interesting and how they utilize the arm, but since it was kind of experimental, they didn't really know what to do with it. But there are plenty of these types of games that has like one interesting gimmick, so we are going to talk about that later. So one of the legendary series from this time is the Bioshock series. This is Bioshock 1, 2, and then Infinite. So yeah, absolute classics. Some of the most highly decorated and highly praised and highly rated game series of all time. I really like this lenticular or like shiny cover. It's absolutely great. Bioshock, the first one, has this like unique horror vibes. There is like this underwater city, and the storytelling is great. I can talk about Bioshock in a lot more detail. Maybe someday I will do that. But now, just the big daddies, the big boss fights with that, the whole underwater city of Rapture is really cool. And then there is the second game, which was actually made by a different studio. So the first one was made by the original creator, Ken Levine, and then the second one they gave it to 2K Marin, which was a support studio on the first game. I think this also has like a shiny quality. And then they were basically, the support studio made the sequel, which is basically more Bioshock, I think. I enjoyed this. I think it was really fun. The gimmick is that you can be a big daddy and you have these big powerful powerful weapons, and you can fight over there, and you have to save the little sisters. So it's really fun. And then the third one was again made by Irrational Games, the studio behind the game, and Ken Levine's company. And it's a big leap from the rest of the series. So the first two games, this is basically another type of. This is a first-person shooter also, like the others, and now it's in Colombia, like in a big city with floating. It's a big floating city over America, and it also has like those political and anti-racism messages and whatnot. But I think it goes into more of like the storytelling is more important in this one, and then with that storytelling, there is a lot of time travel and weird stuff, and it gets very very complicated, but I can still recommend it. It's an absolutely amazing game, and also the two DLC packs are really good. They are usually pretty cheap, and then there is also the PS4 version. You can play it on the Nintendo Switch, so you can buy just a whole package for pretty cheap nowadays. But yeah, the two DLC packs are also really good because they connect to the first two games and Rapture, how it all connects together, and it really finishes the game series well. It has PlayStation Move features. I want to try that out because you can use it with the Move, and you can like shoot and move around with the Move controller. So that's interesting to have a gameplay like that also. And Ken Levine and his team is already making another new game. It's not a Bioshock game, it's called like Judas, I think, but that seems like it's going to be very similar in terms of tone and gameplay, and maybe even like how they present the story. The next one is Black Site. I don't have a lot to say about this. This is one of those weird gimmick game. This generation, every game had to have a Tourette section. So I think it's something like a tactical shooter, so you can command the teammates, but you can also play with them. Okay, and you fight like aliens. This has like Killzone and Resistance vibe at the same time. So it's like Marines, but also these like big alien dudes. So I don't know much about this. Blur, on the other hand, I played this a little bit. This is an arcadey racer game, quick paced and going on the street. It has like Burnout vibes, but also some like unique stuff, and world changes around you and big explosions and neon lights. I don't know. I like racing games. I still have to play this a bit more because I only tried it for a little bit. Next one is Body Count, which is a bit like Black. I think it's from some of the same people who actually made Black on the PlayStation 2. So it's a bit dry in terms of storytelling and whatnot, but it has like really realistic weapon physics and weapon animations, and if you like weapons, it's a fun game. This is also on the 360, I think. The next one is Borderlands 2 Game of the Year Edition add-on content. So I only have this one. This is only the add-on, so it's not even playable by itself. I still want to get a copy of Borderlands 2, but yeah, this is only the DLC packs, and not to be sold separately. So it came like a bundle with the base game, and it has all the DLC that came out at the time. So Borderlands 2, I did actually play it. I even played through the DLC packs. I find it really fun, but it's a kind of game where you want to play it with your friends. So alone, it's not that fun, but with your friends you can trade the weapons, level up together, go on missions together, and especially if you're playing it like 4-player, it's absolutely amazing. And last but not least, Brothers in Arms Hell's Highway. So Ubisoft used to have the competitor for like Call of Duty and Medal of Honor. Activision had Call of Duty, Medal of Honor was EA's thing with Battlefield. They didn't need two franchises anymore, so they stayed with Battlefield. And then there is Brothers in Arms, which was Ubisoft's shooter series, and it was actually made by Gearbox. It's weird because we just talked about Borderlands, but yeah, this was an earlier game from them. It's fine. It's like kind of typical World War game where They try to recreate what happened in the Second World War, and then there is a big multiplayer for it. That was the big deal. That they sadly, Brothers in Arms is not here anymore. Ubisoft haven't made a Brothers in Arms game. Maybe since this one. Maybe there is one more after this. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's kind of weird that this type of game didn't really return with Ubisoft. They never even tried it again after like 15 years, more than 15 years since then. But I guess you just cannot really compete with Call of Duty and Battlefield. That's kind of sad. And that's it. These are all the games from this episode. I really like Bioshock. I really like Beyond Two Souls. Bayonetta is also really fun. But if you are looking for like a true sort of hidden gem, I think you cannot really go wrong with Azura's Wrath. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and like the video if you like this video, and stay tuned for more videos because I want to do some interesting stuff. I also have a big PS4, PS2 collection, so I'm going to do the PlayStation 2 episodes also, and eventually I want to go and talk about like comic books and collector's editions because I have a pretty huge video game collection. So thanks for watching, and I see you next time.